Hi guys, welcome back to our Maine Homestead. Today I'm installing the barrel stove in the greenhouse. So I recently built this barrel stove as a heat source for the greenhouse. I did a video on it, so we'll put a link up here somewhere for that video. The plan is to heat the greenhouse at least during the shoulder seasons, but potentially all winter. Everything I do here seems like is an experiment. So I'll just have to get further into the winter and see how effective it is at keeping it warm enough and how efficient it is as far as do I keep it burning all winter long or not. But I'll keep you posted. The greenhouse is also an experiment. It's a pole greenhouse. I've done one video, the first part in which will be several videos. We'll put a link to that up here as well. Couple more videos probably just finishing that build out, but I got to the point in that process to where I realized before I closed in anything, I needed to know where the barrel stove was going to go and where I could frame in where the stovepipe goes through the wall of the greenhouse. I needed to frame all that in before I put plastic on and finish that situation out. So that's where I'm at today. I am using galvanized pipe, and it's going to go through a piece of this just salvaged tin. It's siding from the Amish sawmill, and they just gave it to me. It was free. But I'm going to either use that entire piece or cut a piece out for the stovepipe to go through the wall and then frame that in, and I'll have to figure out kind of how all that goes. First step is going to be to assemble the stovepipe sections. If you've never put this stuff together before, it has an edge like this, which has a curve and then a kind of an indentation there. And then this edge that kind of comes over and folds over and gives you a sharp kind of point and with a void in there. So this piece fits into that slot. Easier said than done. It can be a little tricky, but there's somewhat of a trick to it. But it just takes kind of keeping constant pressure on it as you gradually work from one end to the other to kind of snap everything into place. So I said there's a trick, but that still doesn't mean it's going to be easy. The trick is to pre-bend it. You want a round stovepipe, obviously, but you're going to need to make it oval, especially on a piece this long. You're going to really need to overbend it so that it almost, this edge and the other edge curve down to be like a heart, or will easily go in that position. Hi. Hello. And as I move down, I'm holding it with my feet as well, and I'm hoping the very end doesn't pop out before I get done. And I think you heard it snap, but that's it. So I don't know exactly where the stove's going to be. I know I'm going to have to do some leveling before I place it wherever that ends up being. So I've kind of done some measurements, got it where I think it's close. I've got it level, and so I'm just going to kind of test fit these pipes to see exactly where they're going to go. So I'll tell you a couple of things. When you seat these elbows in, they're crimped. The crimped end always goes down, so that's the same thing with the stovepipe. This crimped end with the ridges on it always goes down inside of another pipe. That way any creosote, ash, whatever that is falling inside the stovepipe stays inside the stovepipe or the stove and doesn't fall out around the edges. I decided to cut about 1.5 feet of pipe off of this vertical pipe coming out of the stove, just because I don't want to be too close to the top, which is obviously covered in plastic. Time to do a little digging. It's only about 84 degrees and feels like 100% humidity, so great day for that. So a few considerations when deciding where to place the stove. I wanted to stay far enough away from these cedar posts, so I've accomplished that. Obviously I want to stay far enough away from the wall I feel like I've done that. And then at the top, I didn't want to be too close to the rafters or the plastic that's going to cover the top. And then when of course that'll help me when I exit the building, I'll still be the same distance away from that top rafter. And then when I get to the outside, I want it to be 1.5 to 2 feet away from the edge of the building when I make my turn and go up with the vertical pipe. So I got the stove level and the pipe assembled just as a dry fit test run. You can see that we're about halfway in the center of that 5-foot horizontal pipe that's going to go through the wall. Checked all my clearances, make sure everything looks good. So when I did my test fit, I had the horizontal pipe. I got it level-ish. I marked about where that was on this piece of metal. Then I traced one of the stovepipes and then I cut it out with my angle grinder. I got this piece through here and got that in, and then I held this up and measured level on this pipe, the horizontal pipe. Once I got level, I then screwed this into this rafter. That means now this hole is where I want it to be, with this pipe coming out of the upright, coming out of the stove, and then coming horizontal this way. It's level and it'll be where I want it to exit the building. Then I'm going to put a girt up between the back corner post and this center post here. I'll have a girt up that runs behind this, and then this will be screwed into that girt as well. That gives me a good piece of metal kind of as a buffer from the hot stove pipe, and then that gives me a buffer from the plastic. I just took some pliers and went around this edge to form a crimp so that the rain cap will hopefully fit on there. So it hit 89 yesterday, 90% humidity. I called it off, so obviously new shirt, new headgear, new day. So I did get the girt up. I got the metal mounted to the girt with the horizontal pipe going through it, and I went ahead and did some self-tapping screws on either side here and into that elbow up there. So all that's left now is to mount the vertical smokestack. So once I got everything in place, I took a piece of angle iron, I screwed it into the underside of the rafter, and then screwed it into the side of the smokestack just to give it some stability this way. To add more stability to the smokestack, I took a piece of chain link fence top rail, drove it in the ground alongside the smokestack, and then I just took some strapping and tightly bound the two together. So that should add a lot more stability. So that basically finishes the build. Now that this is in place and I know what the framing is going to be on the outside of this wall where the pipe comes through, it's ready to put the plastic on and finish out the build. Thanks everyone for watching. Please subscribe if you don't already. Give us a thumbs up and leave us a question or comment in the comment section. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you soon.